The year was 1979 when 5 fishermen from Hawaii set out on a small white boat called Sarah Joe. They were simple men chasing a calm day on the ocean, unaware that the sea had already marked their destiny. The sun rose like molten gold on the horizon, and their laughter echoed across the waves. But behind that shimmering surface, something ancient and watchful waited. The ocean does not roar, it remembers. They packed sandwiches, radios, fishing lines, and light hearts. They joked about safe returns and easy catches. One of them, John, was quieter. That morning he stared at the sky as if reading some warning written in clouds. He whispered once, "If we are lost, who finds us?" But his friend laughed and slapped his shoulder. "We know these waters better than our own streets." John smiled, but his eyes never left the horizon. Then the winds turned, the waves curled like angry beasts. A storm invisible on forecasts swept in with brutal hands. The sky darkened without warning. Rain slashed the sea like knives. The Sarah Joe vanished, swallowed by walls of water. No distress signal, no final call, only silence. The families waited. Coast guards searched, helicopters scanned the endless blue, but the ocean returned nothing. No debris, no answer. Grief settled like salt in their homes, heavy and unshakable. Years passed, calendars bled into each other. Hope decayed like old wood. Mothers stared at shorelines. Fathers sat outside repairing nets that would never be used again. Hawaii forgot their names, but the sea never does. Then in 1988, nearly a decade later, thousands of miles away, on the remote Marshall Islands, a stranger walking a desolate beach saw something impossible. The wreck of a small white boat buried in sand, its name faint but clear, Sarah Joe. How could it reach here across storms, across time? There should have been barnacles, rot, yet the boat seemed preserved, held by unseen hands. Near the wreck was a shallow grave, stones neatly arranged, and within it bones and a weathered Bible. But there were no footprints, no signs of life, no cross markers, just silence. Who buried him? Who wrote nothing? Who prayed? None of the islanders claimed knowledge. They feared that grave as if it belonged not to man but to memory. Officials arrived carrying maps and disbelief. They confirmed the bones belonged to one of the missing fishermen. But why was only one here? Where were the others? And who gave him a burial on an abandoned island? No one could answer. Some said driftwood, some said sailors. But the currents do not bury, the waves do not pray. Something human had come after the wreck. Someone unknown had stood here and marked a grave, yet no ship logs, no rescue missions reported such deeds. Mysteries do not speak openly, they linger like shadows. John's old question returned. If we are lost, who finds us? Perhaps something did, but not of our world. Locals whispered of night fires seen once far inland, figures moving where no one lived. Some believed the fisherman had lived for a time, building shelter, waiting, carving his tale into wind until someone found him, or something he may have written. But the Bible pages held no words, only blank silence, untouched by storms. Families received the remains, but no peace. A body returned without a story, a grave without a witness. Legends grew. Sailors crossing those waters claimed to see a lone man on reef edges waving, not for rescue but farewell. Some said the sea itself keeps certain souls like secrets. The Sarah Joe vanished in water, but returned in mystery. Those 5 men became echoes. Only John's warning remained. Who finds the lost? Perhaps not always the living. The ocean is wide, but truth is wider. Perhaps the others drift still unseen or lie in unmarked islands where no maps reach. Some claim the Marshall Island grave changes shape each year, as if tended by ghost hands. Villagers avoid it. They say the wind near it hums like distant prayer. The Sarah Joe rests half buried, but never sunk, a relic of questions the world will never solve. A monument not to tragedy but to the unknown corridors of fate. There are shipwrecks, and then there are disappearances. The latter do not rust, they breathe. Each time someone speaks their name, the story of the Sarah Joe does not end. It simply drifts, waiting for new shores to haunt. And so, on that lonely beach where no footsteps lead, a single grave gazes at the sea, asking the same question: if I was found, who was it that found me?